Episode 9, The Museum of Altered Wonder. Casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5. Scene 1, The Field Trip. A third-grade class from East Garfield boarded a yellow bus headed for the Chicago Children's Museum. Chaperones wore smiles. Teachers handed out permission slips with bold titles. Imagination Liberation Experience, sponsored by the Kingdom Inside You initiative. Inside the museum, an entire exhibit had been replaced. Where there were once science toys and nature tunnels now stood towering storybooks, glowing dioramas, and interactive, truth pods. One student pointed to a display labeled, "Rewrite the ending." What if Little Red joined the wolf? What if David never fought Goliath, but became his friend? The lines between fable and faith began to blur. Scene 2, The Rewritten Scrolls. Sarai, Elijah, and Julian entered the museum posing as event staff. As they passed a mirrored hallway, Elijah paused. Reflections shifted. In one mirror, he was wearing a crown. In another, chained. "This whole place is built to fracture identity," he whispered. In the main exhibit, Naomi scanned a digital terminal that held alternative scriptures. It displayed warped versions of sacred stories. A Messiah who never died. A Genesis where the serpent was the hero. A revelation that crowned man as God. Julian slammed his fist against the screen. They're not teaching children to imagine. They're teaching them to edit truth. Scene 3, Ezra enters the wonder. Ezra arrived, unseen by the staff, led by a word from the Lord and the cry of a child he'd heard in the Spirit. As he entered the Wonder Garden, he found a group of children being guided through a ritual storytime. Each child held a pen glowing with light. Each pen was inscribed, "Authority of Self." The facilitator, cloaked in silk and gold, said, "Write your ending. Decide what is good. There is no author but you." Ezra walked forward, his voice cutting through the illusion. "There is an author. One who wrote truth before time. You are not abandoned children. You're being kidnapped by fantasy." The illusion cracked. A child dropped their pen and began to cry. "I want his story again." Scene 4, The Author Arrives. That night, Sarai had another dream. This time, the museum was on fire, but the flames were made of light. A man stood in the center, holding an ancient scroll. His eyes burned with holiness. His robe trailed stars. He looked at her and said, "They are altering the wonders I placed in their hearts. But my word cannot be edited." Then he opened the scroll, and every altered fable turned to dust. Sarai woke up gasping. The author is coming, and the false stories will fall. Scene 5, The House of Reimagining. In the museum basement, the crew discovered the House of Reimagining. It was dark, lit only by flickering lamps shaped like eyes. Inside, an interactive altar allowed children to place a storybook on a glowing pedestal. The book would morph, change, adapt to the child's will. Sarai placed her hand on one. The system spoke. "Would you like to erase sacrifice?" She didn't respond. The voice continued. "Would you like to remove consequence? Would you like a world where no one tells you no?" She removed her hand. "No, I want the truth, even when it hurts. Especially then." Scene 6, The Voice in the Dome. In the center of the museum, a massive dome called the Library of Becoming, pulsed with digital images, gods of ancient myths, cartoon idols, self-made heroes. Suddenly, Arius appeared, seated on a golden throne in midair. Children encircled him, eyes glowing faint gold. They wanted fairy tales. I gave them prophecy twisted. They wanted power. I gave them praise without obedience. They wanted stories, they forgot the storyteller. Ezra stood at the base of the dome. "You can't alter the word. You can only provoke judgment." Arius smiled. "Then let the next altar rise in their minds. Let them imagine the world without you." He vanished in a shiver of sound. Scene 7, Tearing the Veil. Ezra led the crew in a prayer march through the museum. One by one, false altars fell. The mirror hall cracked. The self-authority pens fizzled and turned to ash. The storybook pedestals caught fire. Children began to weep, some calling out Jesus' name as if remembering something long buried. A final banner fell from the ceiling. You are the writer. Ezra raised his Bible high. No, he is. Closing scene, the return of wonder. Outside, daylight broke over Navy Pier. A child ran to Sarai and handed her a torn coloring page. It showed a lion and a lamb. A throne. A river of life. I saw him in my dream, the girl said. He told me a new story. One with no lies. Sarai smiled. That's not a new story. That's the true one. Naomi looked across the lake. 3 altars down, 4 to go. Ezra nodded. But the next one, it won't be built on wonder. It'll be built on desperation.